know we've had a lot of archaeology this morning. Every now and then we have to get above the ground too. So pandering to the audience a little bit, Stephen Roberts, National Park Service Chief of Interpretation, is here. As you can hopefully all recognize, our major National Historic Landmark and National Monument, Castillo de San Marcos, and a photograph taken that won a national award for Find Your Park this year, thanks to our local photographer, Stacey Sager. So, all right, and I also appreciate a homage paid to the Spaniards. If you get an old enough map, you will find out that wherever you live in North America, you were part of Spain originally. I also like to let you recognize that we have hurricane issues as well as tidal flooding, so I thought this might be kind of fun, reminding you why we're Spanish and not French. We have a little waterfront that's pretty important to us, and the Castillo anchors the north side of that. I'm pandering, really pandering. I like this. He's on the north side of the audience. Allison Simpson from the Florida National Guard is on the south side of our audience today, and her office is down in the southern end. We just finished the seawall restoration. We encapsulated our 1830s coquina seawall, thanks to a little help from FEMA there. An award-winning project. If you do get out this evening after the solarium, please go and walk by and see all of that. We haven't had any friends of Charlie, Francis, Ivan, and Jean. We'll see how many of you remember those guys. Everybody know who I'm talking about? 2004? Or even Wilma and Katrina? Or Floyd?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we haven't challenged the seawall yet, so we'll see what happens. But that's brand new. That is what we have tried to do at the south end to protect our downtown. The north end, you can see the oyster beds are a natural seawall that is being promoted to try to see if that will assist in the wave action up toward the fort. Now, again, timing is wonderful on this. Sarah was involved in this. I know Carl Halbert is sitting in the audience and was involved in this. Anybody know what we're looking at? I'm sure you can read all that. This is outside A1A Ale Works on Charlotte Street, right off the plaza and King Street. I took this picture in January when this was going on as the drain pipes were being changed under the ground. It also happened to be when we had Brenda Eckwurzel in from the Union of Concerned Scientists to do her presentation for us on Heritage at Risk. And I'd given her a tour of Crescent Beach, and we'd been up north, and so she'd seen all these natural sites and archaeological sites, and she could not believe we had a cemetery under a street that was being impacted. So we got to show her dead people when she was here too. Anyway, that has now gone pretty global with her research as well. But as you can hopefully tell, we have skeletons in the ground and a nice plastic PVC pipe coming up between them. So that site was left intact. It just happens to have a little contemporary alteration. We have lots of buildings above ground. You see that dome? You're going to have a party in this evening. This is that little Carrera and Hastings building, Henry Flagler's little hotel. It's only 270,000 plus square feet. But we have a full basement. Guess what happens when we have tidal flooding? We have guys running around and putting sandbags everywhere, and we have an elevator that's not in commission, and that's just regular flooding. So the walkways become, tadpole pools. Now, environmental scientists on our campus love this. They go out and they test the water. And then they tell us all not to run through town barefoot. So I'm giving you a heads up, just in case. Again, some of our above ground resources are kind of important. We hope you'll get a chance to see this, those of you that are from out of town. But yes, we hosted the King and Queen of Spain last September. And another guy you might have heard of recently, Senator Tim Kaine, who was the head of the U.S. Spain Council and is a candidate for vice president, was here. So again, we're pretty proud of our above ground as well as our 12,000-year-old underground resources. And yes, it's going to take a lot to take down a coquina building that is 4 feet thick in the basement, that narrows to 16 inches thick up in the dome. But we just finished spending $2 million remediating, well, $2 million of public money and about $4 million of out of privately raised money to remediate the impacts from Charlie, Francis, Ivan, and Jean from more than a decade ago. That was done on the main part of the Ponce. We will begin working on Keenan Hall, which is the room beyond the building beyond the dining room, this fall to do that. Much of that was storm damage, water. Termites love the water. If they don't have to chew on that hard woodwork, why would they? So the coquina absorbs all of that and breathes, as both of our folks from the north and south very well know, but even the coquina concrete had absorbed damage over the years. Judy may remember when she was on the Florida Historical Commission, I might be a little bit dating all that, but when we had those 4 hurricanes, we had our towers evaluated. And we got damage from all 4. We also got damage from Katrina and Wilma the next year. The towers had shifted northward, which would be backward, 2 inches. It may not sound like much, but we also had things that are holding those towers together, which is terracotta and steel, had to be replaced. So we ran scaffolding up to 165 feet in the air, which is not an easy thing to do either, and replaced a number of those pieces and parts on those statues, that are on those towers, so that we hopefully will not have to do that again. Just giving you an indication. Our skyline. We have been a tourist attraction here in St. Augustine since 1821, which means we're coming up on celebrating 200 years of being a tourist attraction. Now, City Commission, in what I consider to be its most far-reaching piece of legislation ever, implemented, I have city employees going to die, say that. We have 35-foot height limitations within the city, which means we aren't Miami Beach. Thank goodness. I have friends from Miami Beach who come here and take pictures of trees and the skyline because they don't see that there. So we protected the skyline. We have done low density. We've done some things over the years that accidentally might help us deal with some of the water issues in the future. The county, by the way, implemented 44-foot height limitations about 1999, so that has helped there as well. But look at our waterfront. We had the first Ponce de Leon Day celebration back in 1885, right when Henry was here deciding whether he was going to buy land or not. We had 160,000 people in 3 days downtown last fall. We just finished the 4th of July festivities at the fort again this year, and we had 60,000 people last year. We're up 18% this year on that as well. So it's a very active, important part of our downtown. Back to the Castillo. I know it looks really romantic with all that water around it, but guess what? It's not supposed to have that water around it. Because the water goes into the coquina. It's kind of like taking a shower in your house. Where's all that moisture go? It's got to go out somewhere. Well, this goes in and out too. So the damage to the coquina is what you're witnessing here. My student intern, Miranda Orlando, took those pictures when she was there last fall. And downtown. Yeah, wait till we finish classes at 5 o'clock and go walk back to our cars. That's why we have umbrellas and boots in our offices. Okay? And Barb Blonder, who is a dear friend and environmental science professor, went out during just plain old rainstorm and got in her kayak. Now, for those of you that live through Floyd, we had not only several days without electricity, but we had 2 weeks of getting to kayak through downtown. And we had seagrass wrapped around the railings on the Bridge of Lions. Okay? And the weather forecast was partly cloudy, chance of rain. Okay? I thought you might enjoy some of this. If you're not reading the current literature, we are all moving to the coast. We love to live on the water. And yes, those farmlands in Seminole County, beachfront in the future. But half the world's population lives within 40 miles of the sea. 3/4 of all large cities are located on the coast. What's the future going to be? These are chart statistics that you can all download, but I sort of thought in your face might be a little help. Notice the pretty colors in the eastern half of the United States. For those of you that are doing planning in your communities, especially if you happen to be in the southeast side of Florida, look at NASA and what they are doing. They have Department of Defense money. They're spending billions to keep Cape Canaveral equipment functioning. They're moving it. Thanks to that, they also are not going to impact the Elliott Plantation archaeological site. They're keeping all of NASA onto the already owned NASA property. But that's a source of funds, or at least information that may help your communities, because they have bigger budgets than the rest of us. Okay? If you're not familiar with these, National Landmarks at Risk, Union of Concerned Scientists, recent studies that have come out, you can get them in print, you can download them. The Castillo's on the front cover. Most people, when I go to conferences, have no idea where the Castillo is. They think it's a nice, pretty building. Now there's 800,000 of them every year that manage to come find us. 7 million came last year to the county. Okay. Again, from the same report. The more national press we get will help all of us. One of the only resources that is so rare, it's the only place in the United States. I'm sure the archaeologists all know that, but I thought it was probably good reinforcement for all of us. The state is one of the only places on Earth where coastal hunter-gatherers built such large and complicated shell structures. Yeah. You're going to see some more data here, and part of it is national. Notice those NASA sites? Okay. Part of the reason I plucked this in is for those of you that are in specific communities, these are prioritized on what's being looked at now and impacts. And I think we probably have somebody here from almost every one of those locations. Okay. This is a complicated chart. That's why I put it on there, both horizontally and vertically, and I apologize about that, but it might help if you pay attention to the Florida locations piece on the left-hand side. That is in priority order. As far as Florida locations to be impacted by tidal flooding. I don't know about you guys, but when I deal with a lot of people on this, they talk about this being in the future. Well, I'm certainly planning on being here in 2030. I'd like to think I'd still be here in 2045. Pretty sure my grandkids are. So it's not that far away. Washington, D.C. At lunch, you're going to hear from Annapolis, Maryland. Way up there. Okay. And, again, Florida locations to be impacted. Nuisance flooding. Not so far away. Anybody been to Key West lately? Lots of pump out stations all over the city. But people are spending millions of dollars still building houses down there. Again, another Union of Concerned Scientists publication. If anybody has not seen the Bloomberg report this week, Zillow came out with the impact on real estate. We're number one. Florida will be impacted by more billions of dollars of real estate loss than, by far, than any other state in the United States. The other thing, that's obviously the end of the presentation, but I want to give you a PISO link. This came to me yesterday, and I won't read the whole link because you can pull it up, but globalchange.gov and then /report. It is the latest report on climate change from the United States government. Get your cell phone list, pull this stuff up.